Another type of question you're going to have is now you're going to be solving for x, and we have 3x times 3x minus 8 times 5x plus 2. This is already factored for you, so you don't need to do anything. We can just say, because it has equals 0, so we have 3x equals 0, 3x minus 8 equals 0, and 5x plus 2 equals 0. So then that means x can equal 0, 3x equals 8, or x equals 8 over 3, 5x equals negative 2, or x equals negative 2 over 5. Then we'll have some that aren't factored that we have to solve. Let's say we have x squared minus 9 equals 8x. So the first thing you have to do is set everything to 0 because we do have an x squared term here. So we're going to move the 8x over because we want our x squared to be positive. So it's going to be x squared minus 8x minus 9 equals 0. When we factor that, we're going to get x minus 9 and x plus 1. Now we set both of those to 0. X minus 9 equals 0. X plus 1 equals 0. So x can equal 9, or x can equal negative 1. Next, let's say we have 2x minus 2 over x times 8x squared over 6x minus 6. The first thing you have to do here is factor. Do not do any multiplications here. So we're going to factor out a 2, and we have x minus 1 over x. And then times 8x squared, factor out a 6, and we're left with x minus 1. Now, the x minus 1's will cancel. This 2 and the 6 will become 3. The 8, or the x and x squared, x cancels here, and the 2 cancels. So on top, we're left with 8x, and the bottom, all we have left is 3. Again, do not multiply on here until after you factor. Otherwise, it makes it a lot harder. Next, we're going to have something like paper. X squared minus 10x plus 25 over 8x minus 40 divided by 9x minus 45 over 72. The first thing we need to do here is, because we are dividing, we need to flip the second fraction. So we're going to have x squared minus 10x plus 25 over 8x minus 40 times 72 over 9x minus 45. Now we're going to factor everything. So I'll start with the top one here. We're going to have x minus 5 and x minus 5. On the bottom, we can factor out an 8, and we're going to be left with x minus 5. And then times 72. Here we can factor out a 9, and we're left with x minus 5. So now we can cancel. We have this x minus 5, x minus 5. X minus 5, x minus 5. So we're left with 72 on top, and 8 times 9 on bottom. 8 times 9 equals 72. So all that cancels, and we're left with 1 as our answer. Next, let's say we have x squared plus 10x plus 21 over x squared plus 14x plus 49 times x squared plus 7x over x squared minus 5x minus 24. So I'm going to start with this one, factor out an x, and we're left with x plus 7. Then I'm going to do this one here. x plus 7, x plus 7. Now this one, x plus 7, x plus 3. Here, we'll have x minus 8, x plus 3. So we can cancel. We have an x plus 7 on top and bottom, x plus 3 on top and bottom, x plus 7 on top and bottom. We're left with x over x minus 8. Next, we're going to add rational expressions. Add and subtract. So first, we're going to have 4x plus 6 over x plus negative 3x minus 7 over 4x. So our common denominator here is 4x. To do, we already have it here. We just need to multiply this one by 4 over 4. So we're going to have 4 times 4x plus 6 over 4x plus negative 3x minus 7 over 4x. I'm going to distribute 4 and combine the two fractions at once. So I'm going to have 16x plus 24 minus 3x minus 7 all over 4x. When I combine like terms, I'm going to get 16x minus 3x, which is 13x, and 24 minus 7, which is plus 17, all over 4x. Next, let's say we have 8 over x squared minus 6 over x. X squared is going to be our least common denominator, and so to do that, to get this one to be that, we need x over x. So we have 8 over x squared minus 6x over x squared. When we combine these, we'll have 8 minus 6x over x squared. We can factor out a 2 on the top. So 2, and then in parentheses 4 minus 3x all over x squared. Then let's say we have 7 minus x over x plus 4 over 5 equals 9 over x. Our least common multiple here is 5x. So I want to get rid of my fractions. So I'm going to multiply this by 5x, this by 5x, and this by 5x. When I do that, these x's will cancel, these 5's will cancel, and these x's will cancel. So now I have 5 times 7 minus x plus 4x equals 45. Distribute the 5, 35 minus 5x plus 4x equals 45. Combine like terms, 35 minus x equals 45. Subtract the 35, and we get negative x equals 10. Divide both sides by negative 1. X equals negative 10. Next, let's say we have x minus 5 over 8 equals x plus 7 over 5. So here we have two fractions equaling each other, so we can cross multiply. So we're going to have 5 times x minus 5 equals 8 times x plus 7. Distribute the 5, and we get 5x minus 25. Distribute the 8, 8x plus 56. I'm going to move all my x's to the right, so subtract 5x, and move the numbers to the right, minus 56. We're going to get a negative 81 equals 3x. Divide both sides by 3. X equals negative 27. This next one is one that a lot of people miss. but if you follow the steps, you'll get it right. So we have 1 plus 1 over x equals 72 over x squared. The common denominator here is x squared. So multiply everything times x squared times x squared and times x squared. So now we have 1 times x squared, which is x squared. We have x squared divided by x, which is x times 1, so plus x equals x squareds cancel, and we're left with 72. We have an x squared term here, so we need to set everything to 0. So I'm going to subtract 72. X squared plus x minus 72 equals 0. When we factor this, we're going to have x plus 9 and x minus 8. Set each of those to 0. X plus 9 equals 0. X minus 8 equals 0. So x equals negative 9, or x equals 8. Next, we're going to have a word problem. Say a sum of a number and its square is 12. Okay, so we're going to say x plus x squared equals 12. Rearrange this and bring the 12 over, so we have x squared plus x minus 12 equals 0. When we factor this, we're going to have x plus 4, x minus 3. Set each of these to 0. X plus 4 equals 0, x minus 3 equals 0. So x can equal negative 4, and x can equal 3. If you want on this one, you can just set it up as x squared plus x minus whatever number they give you. That's what all of them are going to be. It's just going to be a different number than 12, but if you want to start this, x squared plus x minus the number they give you and go from there, you'll be fine. Next, we have a painter can finish in 5 hours. With the assistant, it takes 3 hours. And how long for just the assistant? So we had quite a few of these in the homework, but now we're going to have 1 over 5 plus 1 over x, because we don't know the assistant by itself, but together it's 1 over 3. So now we're going to multiply this. The least common denominator is 15x, so times 15x times 15x times 15x. 15x divided by 5 is 3x. 15x divided by x is 15. And 15x divided by 3 is 5x. So now we want our numbers on one side, letters on the other. So subtract 3x. We get 2x equals 15. Divide both sides by 2. X equals 7 1/2. It's 15 over 2, which if you work that out is 7 1/2. Either answer for something like that would be okay for me. And that is the test. There are also a few extra credit questions, but I'm not going to go over those. They're basically the same concept. I will say that there is one and only one question that is a prime factor. So there's going to be one that you're not going to be able to factor, but only one. So if you find that one, then you know that all the rest of them you will be able to do. But for the one that you can't, you need to show that you attempted it and then just say prime or not factorable or something like that. Don't just leave it blank because you'll miss it then, because I'll think that you just stopped working on it. But if you actually realize which one won't work, then you'll be good. So good luck.